Hello and welcome back to the Dream Design Podcast with Amy Lee, the show that challenges you to stop chasing your dreams and start attracting them. I am so excited to be here today with my guest, Jessica Doman. She is amazing. You guys are going to love her. And we've been chatting so much backstage that I completely forgot to even ask her what her title was, because that's what happens when you have such a great rapport with someone. So she's going to tell you all about herself when she gets here in just a moment. Welcome, Jessica, to the show.
Hello, thank you so much, Amy Lee, for having me. What an incredible honor to be here, just connect with you and have this chat and serve your incredible audience.
Absolutely. So grateful to have you. So tell us a little bit kind of about what you do, because I clearly left that out of
No problem. So I'm an expansion coach and I lead women. My mission is to lead women in their limitless life by really living my limitless life. I am a 2-5 in human design. So my 5 being that I lead, right? I am an activator. I lead women in living their limitless life, whatever that looks like for them. So the desires of their hearts, really putting themselves first is a new modern concept here in this world. And I'm here to lead women in that. And I'm here to say yes to anything and everything that my heart desires, while also working through any healing or any adversity that comes up. I always tap deeper into my soul's mission, my passion, my purpose, for the higher alignment of all and for the greatest good of everyone. So that's me, and I'm so honored to be here.
Well, we're certainly so honored to have you. So tell me a little bit. Obviously, I always ask this question. You heard the podcast, nobody grows up and says, I want to be, an expansion coach, right? Like it's not in the list of things that we get to grow up and be. So like, how do you go from whatever it is that you thought you were going to become, and how did you find your way here?
That's a beautiful question. And it is a long evolved story. I'm going to shorten it down for y'all, but, and actually, even saying the word coach to me is so funny, because it wasn't that many years ago that I was like, who needs a coach? Like, who needs a coach? And I'm like, okay, I got a coach for this. I got a coach for that. I got a coach for all these things, right? It's this, I started out after I graduated college, and my husband went to med school. So we put him through med school and residency, and I was the breadwinner in our family. So I went to work and I was like, okay, I love my 3 brand pillars are desire, power, and luxury. So I love all things luxury. I love to desire things, big, bold, brave things. And so when I went out to work for him and I and our family, I was going to bring home all the bucks for us to do all these things, because I had these big dreams and desires. And I did just that. And I worked a really high-powered job and corporate career for 8 years and gave all of my time, all of my energy to that, and was very successful, and had a bit of a wake-up call in life when right after my husband had finished residency and we moved here, we built our dream home, and we were kind of 2 ships passing in the night. And it was this conversation like, do we even really like each other? I don't know. You don't seem to like me. You don't have any, what are we doing here? And it was this big epiphany of like, whoa, I gotta what do I want in life? Do I actually want to be together with him? Do I not? Are we going to work it out? Or are we not? And it was this, similarly, at the same time, my girlfriend had started, she was a life coach with P&G, Procter & Gamble, through Bob Proctor. And I support her in all things that she did. So I enrolled in her program. And I was, a couple weeks before I had this big epiphany in my marriage, we both did, like, what are we doing here? I had started being open. She'd started coaching me, and I was like, well, this stuff is actually pretty cool. And then this happened, and my husband and I were like, okay, we're going to work it out. We're going to go to therapy. We're going to do all the things. And through this spiritual awakening, this spiritual smackdown that I had, I found wholeness, oneness, the universe that supports me infinitely, and the best relationship that I have always wanted with my husband. We had to go through this rocky turmoil, and I had to go through this smackdown to realize what I wanted in my life, and releasing the control. And in that, I now have the most incredible life I always wanted. And I didn't do it striving, forcing, controlling. I did it when I look back so effortlessly. when it was first happening, like, oh my gosh, are we going to stay together? Or are we not? It was this like fear, this like, I have to grip, control, like, ooh, all the things. And when I let that go, I was able to get a bird's eye view of like all the things that had happened in my life, from the, being a young kid and my parents divorcing and growing up with an alcoholic father and driving in at 13 and all the things to, almost ending our marriage, almost having a miscarriage, all these things that happened in my life had actually happened for me. And now I was called, spirit, soul, the universe has called me to serve other women in this that are feeling, worn out, broken, tired of the old way, tired of giving everything and anything for themselves, don't even know what they want, aren't sure how to get it, right? Have tried all the things, nothing's worked, are serving everyone else with themselves. And because I am such an example, and my line 5 in human design, I've just been called to this. This is my mission. This is my passion. This is my purpose. And so it's evolved in this incredible journey that 5 years ago, I never would have told you that I would be where I am right now.
I can so relate to that with the 5 and the leadership, and like feeling like you like kind of got to put yourself out there, and really just kind of being that pioneer, right, into this space, and feeling almost like beholden to, the consciousness, to the collective, to like share these learnings and these knowings. And it's like, it's not like, people don't always understand that when you are a thought leader or a visionary, you're not doing, I mean, there are definitely some people that do it because it seems like easy money, but excuse me, I kind of call it like growth under a microscope. Like, our responsibility is to become more evolved and let people watch it happen, and then see if they want to walk with us while we do it. And that's a very vulnerable place to be anyway, but you add to that 5 and that projection, and the fact that like somebody's literally like, oh, this is who you are. And you're like, I never said that's who I was. And they're like, well, that's what I see when I look at you. So that's what you are. So it's really powerful to look beyond that and look beyond, the potential pitfalls and, potential like danger that has to you and your ego, and say, I'm doing it anyway. Like, this is still my calling. Like, this is still who I'm here to be. And I've been through so many of these things, and it's important to me that I further that mission so other people can do it, and it's not always easy. It's not always fun. And so I just really value people who, despite those projections, decide to keep going anyways. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, totally. I know you have a 5 in your profile, so you know what it's all about. And it's, I think, and so many of us too, right? We have this calling for more. What is it? And it's, can we lean into it despite other people's projections, judgments, all the things, right? And when you can get over that, and that's been an ever evolving thing. And frankly, I feel like, okay, I'm over it. And then there's this other layer that comes up. But, in this, we're raising babies, and I just see it as like, I want my children to have access to this. I want, somebody like me to be able to reach my children in this, right? When I can at that level, or, whatever. It's a movement, right? And it's like, jump on board and join me if you feel called, if you want to lean into this. It's an incredible life. It's an incredible ride. And yeah, I'm sharing all of my journey. And it is vulnerable, but it is so worth it. The messages I get, the transformations my clients have, like, how could I not? How could I not?
No, 100%. It's really a testament to like why the heck we're really here, right? Like, as you know, I was telling you before, my oldest fur baby passed away this week. And one of the things that we did as a family to kind of, grieve was we watched the movie A Dog's Purpose. And the movie's all about this dog that goes through all these lifetimes. He's like, why am I here? Why am I here? And, I think that that's kind of like the journey that we're on, right? Like, helping people figure out, like, why am I here? Why am I yes, it's about your dreams, and yes, it's about enjoying your life, but also understanding the connection between your dreams and the purpose of the collective consciousness, right? Like, the whole idea is to come back to wholeness, and everything that's on your heart to create is something that the universe has more foresight and knows, if she has this, or if she does this, it's going to raise her vibration to the point where she's then going to be able to do this work for us. I say us, but it's me or the or I. And I think that that's really kind of where the disconnect happens, especially in the population of women, and especially in high achieving women, which I think, you know, a lot of us tend to work with because they're people that are in the business space or corporate or things like that. And I think that disconnect between, like what you wants you, number one. And number two, your dreams are your job. Your dreams are your job. Like literally, it's not frivolous. It's not pie in the sky. It's not your head in the clouds. It's this thing that's on your heart to create. Yeah, that's because it's wholeness that needs to be carried out. And you're the one who's been tapped to create that. And so I love that idea of expansion, and also just like getting people to tap into like, I love you. And I love the fact that, you know, you want this thing and you want to make it about how it's selfish, but it's not selfish. So can you just get over yourself and start building that dream so that you have access to those resources to do the work you're here to do. So I love that. And I love that that's so woven into your message. And if you guys are like, I didn't hear that, well, keep in mind that we've talked beforehand. And so I'm alluding to some things that we've had conversations about, and I also read minds. So I'm kind of accidentally getting little pieces of that as well.
So beautiful.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all you. It's beautiful. So what would you say would be like the biggest mindset shift for you between like when you started your business? And I didn't ask how long you've been in business, but from then to like where you are now, like what shifted for you?
Really, it's in the void for me. It's this knowing that it's always working out for me, even when it appears it doesn't. So I like to play this game, and I teach this to my clients. And because I am a high achieving woman, who can so relate, Amy Lee, to all of your offerings and your message, I am super competitive. And it is something that, you know, I was like always dimmed down for as a kid, right? Being a little girl, like sit down, be quiet, doesn't matter if you don't win, like all these things. And I see competition now very differently, right? It's not always me against them. It's like, it's the collective, it's all of us win, it's all these things. But there's a fun game that I like to play with the universe, and it gets my competition bone excited, I guess you could say. It's when I'm in the unknown, when I'm, you know, where I am right now and where I desire to be, right? This is my desire. This is the thing I'm manifesting. This is the thing I'm calling in. The in-between is called the void, or I like to refer to it often as the unknown. And it's this, no matter the period of time, and time doesn't exist, but let's just say that it does for this conversation. In between where I'm going is in the unknown, and it's how there's a purpose, there's a journey why I'm still here in the unknown, and the very thing my manifestation hasn't showed up yet. And the more times I look over my shoulder and I'm like, where is it? When is it coming? How do I get it? All these things, the longer I get to be in the unknown. So now it's trusting, knowing the mindset shift that it's always working out for me, even when it doesn't appear that it does. And how can I stay in this unknown, in this period of being in the journey and having so much fun, making memories that take my breath away, that when this finally happens, this manifestation, that I'm like, oh, of course. Okay, perfect timing. Of course it happened. All right, thank you. And look at all the lessons I made between here and there. Look at all the memories I made with my family, with you know, my children, with my incredible husband, with my clients that I never would have had I not had this experience in the unknown. And it's the more the game that I like to play is the more it looks like it's not working. The deeper I sink in, the more I'm like, what it actually is. And so it's this game of like, so it's the outside world doesn't think it's working, but I know it actually is. And it's working even more than anybody on the outside could see, because they don't see it working. But I know, like, I'm getting the evidence of it. It's this game of like, oh, okay, so let me give you an example. Nobody signed up for my course or program. Like, okay, so how is that working out for me? Well, it's working out for me because look at all the lessons I learned when I launched this, right? I learned that I didn't have this set up appropriately, that I actually want to incorporate this, that I actually got a bigger download that's going to serve people better, that my messaging gets to be clear, and here's how, that I'm actually going to do this next, or all these things. It's all these lessons, right? It's actually working out for me. Do you know how many times I've launched something and something has gone wrong, and I've been like, okay, this is why yet I'm not serving, this many people like I desire to be, because I had this lesson to learn and I'm so grateful for it. Because how much easier is it to handle, 50 people on telling them, okay, actually I have to do this, than 500 or 5,000 or whatever. And that's the mindset shift, is believing it's always working out for me, even when it appears it's not, and having a lot of fun in that.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so powerful too, because the more that we can play games with the thoughts, right? Because I think a lot of people get stuck and feel like their thoughts are who they are. And so when they hear those thoughts, they think like, oh, that's me saying that. But that's not them. That's just the conditioning that's saying it. And the way that I like to describe it is like, and you guys have heard this a lot, but she probably hasn't, like when you work somewhere and your iPhone starts to get used to the fact that you work there, and it's like, leave now to get to work. And then one day you don't work there anymore, and your phone's still telling you do you get up and go, oh, sorry guys, I know that we're in the middle of dinner, but I need to go to work? And it's like, you don't work there anymore. No, you pick up your phone and you turn it off, right? Because it's a program that's designed to give you information based on where you've been. That's what our thoughts are, right? So when you can scramble them, and like, especially in NLP, we talk about like confusing Frank, right? The conscious mind, like getting him to turn around so we can scoot things into the subconscious. Like that's a great way to do it, to kind of just bounce in and out of like, this is reality and this isn't reality, and this is yes and no, and this is no, and this is yes and no. And it's like your brain's going all over the place, and it's like, right, because none of it matters and none of it's real. At the end of the day, you're attracting it or you're not. So are you or aren't you? And then you're like, oh, well then yeah, I am. So that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah. It's so much fun. And it's the freedom of it's a game, right? Of I'm either attracting it or I'm not. So am I attracting it? Yes, I'm attracting it. Okay. Then why are we even thinking about the other things? So much, we're conditioned so much to think about what we don't want, right?
100%.
But what if we actually think about what we do want? So why would I think about the evidence that's showing me it's not working? Why would I not think about the evidence that it is working? Like, how can I make that list longer in my mind and think about what I actually do want? It's so fun. And what happens when you're in like the fun frequency, when you're in the high energy frequency? Miracles, magic, all the things, right? It could just, the better it gets, the better it gets. So
yeah, no, I think that's so powerful. And I think you make a really good point too, that there's this idea of like, like, what do I really want? And the list of all the things that, that you do want as opposed to the ones you don't. But like, what about the idea of this paradigm that like, it's much more likely that the bad thing's going to happen than the good thing's going to happen? There was, a roulette game that happened in Vegas at some point, and they were, playing the game or whatever, and red kept coming up. And so people were betting on black and betting on, like, it has to come up. It has to come up. It's like, bro, it's still 50%. Like there's just as much likelihood it's going to go red forever. I mean, it's always 50%. So like we have this illusion that the bad is like 90% possibility, and it's just a tiny little, and it's like not like that at all. And what happens if we shift our reality to like, no, actually like the good is 51% today, or maybe I'm adding 5% today, or it's just that much more likely, right? Like just adding to it, and the illusion of that. So yes, playing games with the universe and really kind of like trampling around in the quantum field, like your own, field of daisies. It's like, so like you use the word yummy. I love the word juicy, right? Like it's just so like, it's just this visceral energy of like, oh my gosh, like I'm playing with, and I think, a really good book that this reminds me of, and I actually have the card deck, is E Squared, which has all those fun little, do you have it right there? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah, I can't reach it, but yes, it's right there. Yep.
Yeah, and it has all those fun little experiments to play with. I think I even have my dowsing rod still in there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like it's like just this idea of the playfulness of it. And especially for me being a generator, like it's really important to bring that playfulness into my life and like really kind of, so I love that. And I think the audience is really going to love that. And thank you so much for sharing. That's amazing.
Yes.
This is such a good conversation.
It's so good.
So we haven't really tapped into, the parenting piece. And I'm just curious, like for you, like how do you balance, being this incredibly successful coach and having children and having a marriage? Like how do you fit all of that into your day and into your schedule? Did your doorbell just ring?
It did. How do you like that? Sorry about that.
Do you need to get it?
No, okay. It's the UPS guy.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Oh goodness. So here's the thing. If you would have asked me, I believe that you can have anything and everything you want. That I get to have anything and everything I want. But I also believe balance is a fallacy in my world. I don't believe that everything can be in balance all the time in every area of my life. There are too many things, too many balls that I love. I love all the things that I have in my life, but they're never all going to be in balance. And so for me, it's every morning when I wake up, I do this ritual. I put my hand in my heart and I just, thank you. I love you. Incredible miracles are coming to me. And I just tune in, like, where do I desire to place extra energy today? And sometimes it's in my marriage. Sometimes it's in my relationship with my kids. Sometimes it's my business. I'm going all in today, like all the things. And sometimes it's a little bit of everywhere. And so, what's really, really, really important to me, obviously, are my relationships and that I have with my family first. That I have with myself first, and my family and my children, and then my clients. And everything else for me is icing on the cake. So that's, my podcast, social media, my website, all the things, that's all extra. And so I lead myself. It's me first, my energy first. I meditate first. I work out first. I take care of me first. And then I can serve everybody else better in the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, real life.
Oh, goodness. Sorry about that, Amy Lee. And
fine.
Thank you for understanding.
It could very well happen to me. So
okay. So anyways, I come from me first. I lead when I am happy and I am fulfilled and I am like in tune. After I meditate and I feel, the oneness, I connect in with the quantum every morning, then I can better serve everybody else. When I don't, even my kids, that was my 3-year-old that came in here and asked for a snack. They know, they can tell, like, Mommy, have you meditated yet today? Because I'm just not who I desire to be. And so
take that Snickers commercial, right? And you're not hungry.
Yep. So so does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And so, let's dig in a little bit just real quick, kind of like the work that you do with your clients. Like, what does that look like? Like, who's coming to you and like, what is her like big ask? Like, what is it that she's trying to transform for herself?
Mm-hmm. So I have an energetic component that a lot of my clients come for me for, right? I can read energy really, really well, and where you're lit up in your centers, where you have blocks, things like that. So I attract the high achieving woman who is in a business or who desires more in her, in her life, in any area of her life that she desires more in, to expand into her power, into desire, into luxury, those things. And we really work on her, how she sees herself, the beliefs she has around herself. A big pivotal foundation in my brand, I have this program called Unruly. And so it's about really releasing ourselves and the rules we've been taught as women, that says sit down, be seen, not heard, all those things, beliefs that we've been taught, old paradigm beliefs, and really becoming unruly, breaking free from all those rules and actually stepping into the women we desire to be, and the rules that support those that we create ourselves. And so I get a lot of the women that are like, I've done this forever. It doesn't light me up. I've been in this marriage forever, that like, we're two ships passing in the night. And I lead those women in their expansion of whatever they desire. And we do that, energetically. I go in and work on them with my core healing team and theirs, and, spiritually and from their mindset. And then we work on manifestation. What do you want to call in? And we work on your beliefs, and it's all of it, anything that comes out, right? There's nothing off the table. And one of my favorite ways to serve is actually, is through one-on-one coaching. I get to know somebody, we go deep really quickly, and, they have me in their back pocket. And that is, right now, my favorite way to serve is just these incredible women that are in my world that I have the honor of doing life with every day, that have become incredible friends and family.
I love that so much. And, I want to be a little transparent and say, where we met, obviously we met in Melanie's world, right? Because like, oh my God, what a place. And big plug for Melanie and Larry, y'all. But one of the things that, we both have been exposed to is this idea of coach versus mentor, right? And the mentor program just took my breath away. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh. So what would you say, like, obviously making the transition between like, here's best practices and here's how I do this versus like mentorship, like what are some real big, like juicy takeaways for you about the change and the shift between working with people who need like best practices and like, where do I go next versus like, walk with me, share your energy with me, share your, your experiences with me and your perspective. And I just love to hear, like, I don't know, I've never asked that question, but I'm just feeling called to like what that feels like, that transition for you and the caliber of client that kind of is on the other side of that.
The caliber of client is really a woman who is open to go deep, right? Who is like, okay, here's the things that I see for myself. I would love, here's where I desire to go. I want to be in your energy. Can you, not tell me what's wrong with me, but can you tell me where you see I'm playing small? Can you tell me where I see, or this came up today and I thought I'd work through that, or just this, like, it's this next level evolution of being a mentor and like of that vulnerability, if you will, that it's not like a checklist as a coach and like do X, Y, Z, right, to get X result, because we can do that all day long. And that to me is more in the, it's in the masculine energy, right, of the doing. And whereas being a mentor is in the feminine energy of like being in each other's energy, sharing things about each other that are vulnerable, that, where we're seeing things in ourselves that we're like, I just realized this and it's happened my whole life. I had one of these big epiphanies last week with my mentor, and I cannot believe I haven't seen it until now. And I am not proud of it. And this is a really big shadow, and I'm going to meet myself in it. And it's feeling safe and held. And I certainly do that in my coaching containers, but mentorship takes it to another level. It's, if I can find the words, it's like it's like a best friend for all your growth, right? That the word is not coming to me, but just,
no, it's okay. The energy's coming through, so it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Just, best friend to tell all your things to. I don't even want to say, secrets or whatever, because it's not that, but just like to hold you in this next level evolution of you and support you in that. Mentorship to me is what I'm looking for, and what I provide for my clients is I want them to feel seen and held and safe, because there's so many spaces in the world right now where you can't go and have that. Mm-hmm. And while the world is opening up more, and as we're all ascending so quickly, there are going to be more places in that. And my soul is speaking to me now, saying so much faster than any of you could even believe that's happening. But right now, I desire to be that safe place and mentor my clients in it, who are looking for their next evolution, who want to expand in the deep, in the scary, in the uncomfortable, in the dark, all of that. Be that safe place where they can give it all, share it in a space, and together we can unpack it for their next level, for them to then be able to go out and give their magic to the world, right? Yes.
I love that. I think that's a perfect explanation. And I think it really speaks to, the evolution and the depth that goes into being a mentor for someone versus just like, okay, so go do this and come back and tell me when you did it. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're really seeing the landscape of coaching shift toward mentorship, especially in, the high level stuff. And I'm totally here for it. And it sounds like you are too. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So as we kind of come to a close here, if folks want to get to know you better, they want to find you on social, like tell us how to do that.
Yeah. So the best way really to find me would be on Instagram. So I'm effortlessly Jess on Instagram, and I share a lot of behind the scenes stories and all the things, my family and all the messy, all the real, all the authentic. There's no perfection that lives here or on my social media. I don't believe in that. I am a human. I signed up for this human experience. And so that means I'm messy. That means my house is not perfect. That means my hair is still wet from the shower this morning. All of that. So I share all that I share all that on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook. I have a large community on Facebook. Thank you, Emily, for sharing that. And then, of course, I have a website, jessicadoman.com.
Awesome. And that is scrolling right down. And for those of you guys that are out there listening in podcast land, all of this yummy, juicy goodness will be in the show notes. So you can find Jessica and get to know her even better. As you can tell, she has fantastic energy and she is so lit up for the work she does. And we're so grateful to have had her here today. So thank you so much, Jessica, for being here. It has been an extreme pleasure.
Yeah, same. Thank you so much for having me, Emily. It was my honor, and this was so fun to be lit up generator to generator and just have this conversation with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming. And that'll do it for this week's episode of the Dream Design Podcast. Until next time, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace. Namaste.